Hopefully you see it in the full presentation mode.
Yes, Sasha, we can see. Good
Okay,
morning.
thank you. Morning. We have only one answer in the chat, but it's better one than none. So, hello, John. And the agenda for today is that we get together, that we are doing now. And then Gideon Brefo will present our project. Then we will talk about how to enhance decision-making in business model innovation process, how to assess services, and talk about different business model and business model generation based on Business Model Navigator. And then, in short, we will talk about services that already is offering and what Ordi is mainly about. And then we will look at some video and talk about business model innovation. And then we will end with question and answers and closing remarks. Firstly, I would like to remind you of some housekeeping rules that our webinar will run smoothly. This will be that the webinar will be recorded, as you are aware already. We will share the materials from the webinar after the event, as well as monitoring file. And for all of us hearing each other, please, unless you are speaking, stay muted. And if you have any comment or question, you can ask or say it anytime, basically. So I see that Gideon has joined us. Good morning, Gideon. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for agreeing that you will and that you will present our project. So please, you can have the floor now.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Shasha, if you could make me a co-host.
Yes,
yeah, the slides.
Yes, I think that it's going on.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I think I'm on now.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, good morning. I don't think that it's afternoon for the people I see here. So my name is Gideon Brefo, and I'm going to do a brief presentation on what the AfriConEU project is about. So as you can see from the screen, the AfriConEU project aims at creating the first trans-continental networking academy for African and then European digital innovation hubs. But of course, this does not exclude the startups that are supported by these innovation hubs. What we are also doing is to also increase the capacity building projects happening between these two continents, and then also project the sharing of knowledge, create a platform for collaboration and network, and allow for joint projects and other venture development. These are the main objectives that we seek to achieve. First, knowledge and experience sharing. Two, to drive development of collective projects to boost the digital economy. This is very important because now everything is becoming digital, and especially women, and foster innovation growth. For the members of the consortium, we have 4 partners in Africa and then 7 in Europe, so a total of 11. And you can see a representation of that and the graphs that you are seeing on the screen. Now, let me move on to the different phases. Currently, we are on phase 3, where we are implementing what we planned in phases 1 and 2, because in phase 1, we were contextualizing everything. And so we carried out research in the focused countries. So there was research that took place in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Tanzania, in Uganda, to understand the ecosystem. And of course, we reach out to our colleagues in Europe as well. And so that gave us an understanding to develop the Networking Academy and the tools in phase 2. And now we are implementing it, and we are hoping that we are going to achieve all the results as earmarked from the beginning. So just to dive a bit deep into what we are doing, we earmarked to have 12 local workshops. So when we talk about local workshops, we mean face-to-face stroke online. So we are doing mostly hybrid workshops in the 4 African countries. So 3 of them will be done in each of the countries, that's Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Tanzania. Then we are also having 20 webinars and 8 master classes. All these are ongoing, and I'm going to show you the schedule very soon. But there are things that we are also looking forward to doing, especially the first one in November. I will share a bit more about that later. That's going to be our international brokerage event. And we are hoping that about 200 people will gather in Bologna, Italy, for this event. And then we'll have boot camps and capitalization event. That will be the final event to bring this to an end. So we are more like bringing all the ecosystem actors together. So entrepreneurs, the tech hubs, policymakers, all the EU, AU initiatives, and people in the diaspora, body together on one table to provide support to help with the growth of the digital economy in Africa, and enhance the collaboration between that of Africa and Europe. So in doing that, we have some thematic areas. And so we are looking at business development models, a multi-actor approach, technology transfer. Then, of course, startups always need financial support. So also, how do we build them up so that they are well equipped and positioned to look for financial support? And then also generally to look at the digital and entrepreneurial skills that is required to develop ourselves in the digital economy. And so you see that the webinars and then the local workshop and master classes are well distributed under these areas. And so if this is the first webinar you are attending, we have a number of them, and we'll point you to the website where when you subscribe to the AfriConEU website, you get information on all this and be able to follow all the programs. This is giving more detail to the thematic areas. So I'll move on. Now, I spoke about the calendar showing what is happening when. So you'll see from the distribution that every month there are either master classes or webinars, local workshops taking place. And so you can find this on our website so that you can always register for an upcoming event and be able to participate and also contribute. We want it to be interactive. So today I'm looking forward to see a number of you also giving their contribution and perspectives so that all of us on the call and those that might watch it later will also get to learn from it. These are further details up until 2023. And then finally, I want to throw more light on the International Brokerage event. This is happening in November 2 to November 3, 2-day event. And this is very packed because we are bringing all the stakeholders to one platform. And so this is an event worth attending. If you can arrange your affairs to be in Bologna, yeah, all the better. We're looking forward to meeting you. But arrangement has also been made for those that will not be able to travel from their home countries, especially those in Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda. We are organizing parallel events with all our partners in those countries. And so you can also be able to go in there physically and you enjoy the events taking place locally, as well as the activities that will also be streamed that they'll be watching live. But if you are not able to also make it to these physical locations, and probably if you are in another country, the event is still going to be live online. And so you'll be able to follow and also participate. And so please go to our website. I will put the link in the chat and then you'll be able to find more of this. Beyond that, you can also register to receive our newsletter all the time. And so if you go to our website, please do not only register for the events, but also register to receive our newsletter so that you are always updated with what we've done so far and what is yet to be done. Well, on that note, I will say thank you for listening.
Thank you, Gideon, for providing us insights about our project. I think that everyone now see that it is really interesting project and that we are hosting a huge amount of event. The next one already on Monday. And now we can proceed with the topic that we are gathered for. And I will share my screen. And firstly, I would like to ask you if you have any question about the project. I will share it. I think you are seeing the full presentation mode now, and Huzaifa raised hand, so Please, if you have any question or comment.
Okay, so good morning to you all. I bring you greetings from Ghana. My name is Huzaifa Isahaku, and I come from Ghana. So I've listened attentively to the presentation earlier on, and some of the few clarifications and concerns I want to share is I think this African EU project is going to benefit some of us so much that we don't even find joy missing any of the events, like both the physical and the online. And with this with the last part of his presentation, this international brokerage event is going to be an outstanding one. So I expect that at least we, the ambassadors, at least some of us will get the opportunity to attend this free. So I want to appeal that in going forward, you consider these thoughts and see how you'll be able to make it possible for at least some of the ambassadors to get on board on the physical meeting of this international brokerage event. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. We will discuss it and get back to you how we can arrange that all or some or about ambassador will come to Bologna. Yes, we will address this question. Thank you for your comment and your kind words about our project. And now I would like to talk about business modeling. And why business model is important. It is because describing the business logic of your or any other entities or enterprise that you are covering or leading and or be part of it. And basically it connecting the dots to explain what you offer, which segment of your ecosystem, how you will create value, and otherwise why this will generate profit. And actually the strategy says that BM explain how an organization creates, deliver, and capture and value of your entity. And today we will talk about basically about Business Model Navigator. And this is another approach to evaluating business model, and is called Business Model Navigator. It was presented in a book in 2014 by Oliver Gassman and several of his colleagues. In is a really different approach than we saw with the business model canvas, in that Gassman does is identify 55 different specific business model types, and he possessed that they represent more than 90% of the profitable business in play, and that businesses of many different types can be categorized under these umbrellas. And you will get a better sense of that in just a minute. And now the framework that he used is somehow of a simpler framework, and we will take a look at it right now. Because as you can see on this slide, we have this triangle, because we must think about it, and it's in the center, is who is in the center, and that is basically your customer. And then we say, how do you create value for customers? How do you deliver value for customers? And how do you create or retain value for your organization? So it's basically a simple structure or a diagram from the way it is presented, and we saw that already by Osterwalder, and is useful basically because it's so simple, and Gassman is really focused on that. Is that you need to innovate at least two segments, not only one, because if you innovate only the customer. This is not the business model innovation, but it's only the new market and its new market approach. And what I find particularly interesting about this approach are the 55 different models that are presented. And here are they, and some of them are add-on crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, and so on. And if you we can make some list and basically go through each of them. So if you look at the first, it's called add-on business model, and takes is that the core of offering is really inexpensive. The example would be Ryanair. And but if you want additional features, additional service, you're going to pay for that. So if you think about Ryanair, the base fare, airfare may be quite modest, but luggage, meals, anything else can quickly increase the price that you would pay for that ticket, or at least for that trip. Second model that we are looking is crowdfunding. And a good example of crowdfunding is Kickstarter, which may be a little popular and a little known. And the same is basically the Indiegogo, and was actually the first major crowdfunding site. Of course, with crowdfunding, an operator puts forward a product, typically representing a video or some other means, and ask potential customers or investors, but it's being used particularly now for customers to agree to either buy or invest a certain amount of money. And once they hit the certain threshold, then the project is greenlit. And it's basically a very safe way for customers or for the entrepreneur, and basically is used for new companies. And the obligation on both sides of that transaction is that both of those that committed money and also the individual or entrepreneur who's providing a product or service are triggered. And everybody agrees to then consummate that transaction. So you have everything sell already. And the third business model is called crowdsourcing. And now if you think about crowdsourcing, a great example of this is 99 Design. And 99 Design is where someone who is seeking a design, a logo, let's say, or an illustration, goes to the website and puts their request out there, and designer around the world will come back and say, I can deliver that as design for that money, and other will say that they have a different option. Or so, as opposed to just having two or one people thinking about that, all of a sudden you have a crowd of experts globally or locally. And today in this global world, that is always an option. And the next business model is direct selling. And we have a lot of different companies doing that. And the next is franchising. The easy example that we are all aware of that is McDonald's, because American chain, hamburger chain, has started as a single chain and then grew and owned its own stores. But this also provides a franchise to people who are willing to buy it and open McDonald's under their brand name. And there's a lot of other things that come with franchising, which includes operational manuals and best practice, sometimes supply chain as well. that make those franchises more likely to be successful because you have a safety net around you. And then we have freemium. And a good example of freemium is Dropbox or Spotify, where you can get a certain amount of service for free. But if you want more, you have to pay for it. It's a quick way to expand your business because people will try it for free. And then as they like it, they find value in it and they will pay for that value. And next up is license. And it's basically you provide some software or some apps or something others, and you and the users pay a licensing fee, and it can be very efficient way to generate revenues. But the value that you deliver has to be very clear, and typically that intellectual property needs to be protected. And mass customization is interesting because here you're selling thousands or millions of products, but each one is customized, and people like that very much. And what's good example of that is Dell computers, because Dell's unique value proposition is that it quickly creates customized computers for everybody who orders it and delivers them within just a few days. And that is, and everybody gets what they actually need, or they order it. And then we have the pay for use. That is about the TV provider or online provider, and we pay for the right to watch that movie or anything else. And the interesting model is also the razors and blade strategy, which is, now we know the razor and blades traditionally. This was basically that the razor was sold inexpensively and the blades were sold more expensively. But of course, it's not just the razor and blades, it's also about about Nespresso, where Nestle makes less money than they might ordinarily on the coffee maker, but makes a lot of money on those Nespresso coffee pots, for example. And two more, the rent instead of buy, and another is also the subscription. Those are some of the 55 business models that we wanted to focus on. But more of that is available in the Business Model Navigator web page. You can scroll them in and look at every one of them, or one that are mainly interesting for you. I will put the link also in the chat for the web page here. And as they say, and you can combine different than the models, and I will talk about it a little more later. And here is also the link. I will put that also in chat later. Is the whole book in PDF. So if you're interested, or you like more books more than just the web page, you can download it on this link. I will put it in the chat. And here we have what to do with these different business models, these 55 business models that we are talking about. Firstly, when we have some enterprise, basically we are thinking about it or we already have it, and then we analyze the ecosystem. This is the initiation phase. Then we have also this triangle that we talked about earlier, and we know which are our customer, what are our added value, how we will achieve our goal on the market, and why the customers need to choose us, what problem we solve for the customers. And that are also the player in our ecosystem. And then we can go on this web page or read the book and assess these different business models and see where they are similar to our case, to our company, and where it's confrontation, basically, it's different from us. And then we can select some ideas from these patterns and then integrate it in our business model, existing business model. Because we can learn from the business model that they are already existing or they are successful, and then we change something in our own business model that doesn't make profit, or we see it through the years that this is not so optimized as it should be. And then we test the new business model. We are in the testing phase. We try and learn, then we adapt, and then we go to the market and introduce our new business model or new services or something similar to that. And these are 3 strategies to create new business model. As we can see it, we can transfer on the existing business model. We can look at the different business model and see the business model that is more aligned with the product or the customers that we have or plan to have. And it's about the Gillette that we talk about it, the business model about razor and blade, where the razor are inexpensive and blade is expensive. And we can combine this different business model, or we can repeat the same model if we think that is appropriate for our situation. And it's basically not only about creating new business model but it's also about the innovation. And we talk about innovation in different projects, and it's important to know that innovation is the successful market introduction of a technical or organizational novelty, and not just its invention. It's important part of innovation is that is coming to the market, because it's not enough to have some great ideas and some great plan and stock it in your drawer. You need to come to the market and assess the idea through business modeling and provide some insight in that also. I would like to show you some short video about business model innovation. It's really a lovely video and very insightful, but I think that I need to go in different ways. But firstly, I would like to ask you if you have any comments, any thoughts about it, and if you would like to share with me, if you are interpreter or DIH manager or digital innovation hub employees, or are you thinking about creating some business, or your business support innovation, you can write that also in the chat, or you can just say it. Because I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself in the start of my talking. I'm Sasha Strauss. I hold a PhD in agriculture, and I'm employee on digital innovation hub in agri-food. We are the biggest digital innovation hub for agri-food in Europe. And I see one question here in chat. How can we find the most suitable business models for our businesses? Yes, you can think about your idea, and then you can go to the web page. It's really a very useful web page, or you can read this book about Business Model Navigator, because here are those 55 different business models that they say that through the research they came to a conclusion that 90% of different business models go in that one of these 55 business models, and you go through it, and then you can assess which one of those business models are appropriate for your idea or your enterprise. I also put the link of the book here. I must confess that I don't know if I should share this link, but it's on internet and it's PDF free copy. Otherwise, the book is for buying on Amazon, but nevertheless. How will the next question is, how will AfriConEU project support different business models that we may come up with? We are hosting several events on this topic, the topic of business modeling, and here we provide you with some knowledge, or with some different sources where we can find additional information. And also on our web page, we have this capacity building section on the web page where you can find additional material and additional knowledge and sources about it. And in the next year of the project, also the boot camps and other capacity building program will be developed, and we will do and build that. But unfortunately, the project is not can't provide any funding for business modeling, only to empower the different DIH or other entities to know how to make business models or a business strategy, or any successful enterprise, basically. But we are focused on digital innovation hubs, and also it's a good networking opportunity, maybe for finding different partners and starting a new project together with them. Hopefully, I answered to some of your questions. So I will share my screen again to play you the video from YouTube. And hopefully this will work. And firstly, I can also show. Sorry. I was thinking today about it. That is really good video and that I want to show you, but I didn't show never actually before the YouTube video on Zoom, so please bear with me. Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Shasha, you didn't share the sound.
Okay. I will fix that. Hopefully. But I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, you share it. When you were sharing your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go off and reshare your screen. When you are sharing, you have two options to.
Share sound. I see it. Thank you,
Yes.
Gideon.
So check both of them. Okay.
Thank you.
R&D resources,
No,
top employees, and profound knowledge of their markets? Yes. But they had another thing in common. They all missed the moment when they should have left their successful path to rethink their business model. They missed out on radical innovation because they were too busy managing daily business and serving current clients instead of envisioning future opportunities. In other words, today's success is the enemy of tomorrow's success. The innovation cycle spins faster than ever in nearly all industries. Innovation either increases the customer value of a product or service, or it lowers their costs, and therefore creates a competitive advantage. Apple, for instance, creates a high perceived customer value with its innovative new products, and Dell reduces its costs and working capital through build-to-order processes. But even though its importance is undisputed, there are many misconceptions about innovation. 3 myths are particularly pervasive. First, innovation stems from ideas nobody has had before. Second, big success requires big resources. And third, innovation breakthroughs are always based on fascinating technologies. Luckily, they are all wrong. IBM did not invent the personal computer, Apple did not invent MP3 technology, and Amazon did not invent the online bookstore. Successful innovators learn and recombine, whereas the pioneers get eaten by the wolves. Cisco had virtually non-existent R&D resources, but out-innovated the largest research lab in the world, AT&T's Bell Labs. 14 of today's 25 most innovative firms have innovated their business model, and not just their technology. Take firms such as Google, Amazon, or eBay. Great algorithms, yes, but it is the business model, not just the technology, that is responsible for their success. So, what exactly is a business model innovation? A business model provides answers to 4 questions. Who is your target customer? What do you offer to the customer? How do you create the value proposition? And how do you generate revenue? And a business model innovation changes at least 2 of these 4 dimensions. In our research, we have looked at all major business model innovations in the past 50 years. They have all revolutionized one or several industries. For instance, IKEA has redefined the way we buy furniture. TomTom has transformed the navigation business, or eBay has changed the world of trade. Yet only 10% of these business model innovations were novel and introduced new business model patterns. The other 90% merely adapted, refined, or combined these patterns. For instance, innovative companies often apply creative imitation. They ask themselves, how could a business model innovation from another industry revolutionize our own industry? In total, we have identified 55 business model patterns that are responsible for all business model innovations. For example, flat rate, supermarket, rent instead of buy, experience selling, e-commerce, or the razor and blade pattern. Let's have a look at this one. Since 1904, Gillette has been giving away razors for next to nothing, but selling its blades at obscenely high prices. Nespresso creatively imitated this pattern, selling cheap coffee machines and expensive coffee, and revolutionized the coffee industry. And many other companies applied the razor and blade pattern too. Remember Apple's iTunes, Amazon's Kindle, or Hewlett-Packard's inkjet printers? Now, what do you have to do to innovate your business model? We advise you to follow 4 steps: initiation, ideation, integration, and implementation. During initiation, you analyze your current business model. Again, who is your target customer? What do you offer to the customer? How do you create the value proposition? And how do you generate revenue? During ideation, you confront this business model with the 55 business model innovation patterns and develop new models. How would Nespresso conduct your business? Or is there a match between your product and the experience selling pattern? Challenge your basic assumptions and the dominant logic of your industry. But don't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, use analogies and learn from other industries. During integration, you need to check the consistency of the business model. This is important detail work where you examine all 4 questions regarding organizational fit. Finally, during implementation, it is time to awaken the beast. But be careful. In iterative cycles, you design a business model, build a pilot, test the pilot, and return to the design phase. It is important to not only gain qualitative and quantitative data to verify or falsify your assumptions about your new business model, but also not to forget about the soft factors of innovation. Thanks to incorrect management behavior and organizational resistance, more than 70% of all change initiatives fail. Therefore, keep a few rules in mind. First, only implement one business model at a time. Second, clearly communicate the new business model and the need for change. Third, don't overemphasize short-term KPIs. Innovation needs time. Fourth, get top management commitment. Without their sponsorships, business model innovation is doomed to fail. And finally, overcome the not invented here syndrome. Got that? Let's wrap it up then. Innovation is the key factor to defeat path dependency and stay competitive in today's economy. Yet, innovation is not necessarily about new technologies, excessive research and development, or about creating completely new ideas. Most of the time, innovation is about learning from others and reinventing your business model, not just your technology. This can be done in a structured process of initiation, ideation, integration, and implementation. You analyze your business model, apply the 55 innovation patterns, check for inconsistencies, and start implementing carefully, keeping in mind success factors and pitfalls. Are you ready then to revolutionize your own industry? Try to creatively learn from the giants whose shoulders you are standing on. Think big and think different. Steve Jobs did it, so why can't you?
So I think is everything that I talk about it before in a much more interesting way, and more that you memorize it from this video than from think, from my presentation, or not. But I think it's really the great video about it. So I will share the link with you in the chat also, and you can share it or look at it later again, because it's also the good motivation video that you start to think about your own organization or your own business. I still don't know if you are from DIH or from enterprise, or if you are just somebody interested in business model. So if you would like to share it in the chat, or you would like to talk with me, I know that webinars and other online events are not so interactive. If we will sit in the room together, we will definitely talk more, but it is how it is. We cannot change this. If there are any question or not, I will share my screen again with you briefly, very briefly, because I don't think that this is so much of use for you, but I would like to talk about the Digital Innovation Hub and their services, and it's about our own that you will have the idea where I came from. And as I said earlier, I'm coming from Digital Innovation Hub in Agri-Food, the largest digital innovation hub for agri-food in Europe. And we are doing in agriculture for at least 10 years. And we were thinking that we need to provide for stakeholders, for our short supply chain actors, the new thing. And the new thing is that we empower them with new technologies. But we don't go deep in each of new technologies, not in the Internet of Things, not in big data, not in blockchain, not in robotics or in Earth observation. We only know, we don't develop this technology, but we know how to use them, and we know how our stakeholders, our customers, how to say, can use them and benefit from them in their own enterprises or on the farm, because one of the main paradigm for DIH agri-food is the offering the digital transformation of agriculture sector, and not only on the field but also in food processing. And the next major pillar for our work is food supply chain, because we own a small short food supply chain Greenpoint in Murska Sobota. This is in Slovenia, and it's registered as living lab. So it's very important that we have this place, this living lab approach, that all the new technologies that we offer need their benefit to the consumer or customers, that they can be implemented, and they are trials in a real environment. And also for the new product that our farmers come with, or they adapt some business models and provide us with new products or new different approaches, we can then co-create it with customers. We have the strong customer base, which is able to provide some insight about it, how the customers think and what consumer like at the end, because everything we have done and we are doing ends with customers' acceptance or not. And the third pillar is about gastronomy. And then the agri-food provides 7 services, and it's about awareness creation, innovations, counting and technology transfer, about developed strategies and business models, and financing and funding, mentoring and training, this living lab, as I already mentioned, and cooperation with other DIHs and network. Our business model is about this. These are the core services. But we are a little bit different because we don't have subscription for our customers. We don't offer services for pay because everything is more or less free, but we are very much into the projects. So you can see here about on the screen, these are the projects we are active in, and we tend to fund our services through this project. And important part of our work is also the networking. So we have this agri-food platform where you can enlist your organization and start to connect with other entities. But different DIH provide different services, as you know. These are the services that majority of DIH is offering, is about ecosystem technology and business, and also about skill training and education. I would like to ask you which sector you're. Sorry, my mouse is a little bit neurotic and and goes on the other slide. Or which services your DIH or other entities offer, and what you think is the added value of your own DIH or entities. Gideon, please. You raised your hand.
Yes, so for my hub, Hyperspace Innovation Hub, and this is located at Kumasi for those who do not know. We focus more on the community building. Yeah, we have a huge community of tech that we support. So in terms of supporting them, then we provide them with the infrastructure that will help them do what they do, and also support them with market research for those that need them. And we run incubation for them, especially those that come in with just an idea, or they are at the very early stage of their idea. We provide business incubation where we bring in experts to provide them the needed support to shape their idea and make sure that it is market relevant. In terms of access to finance, what we do is to connect them. So we do the linkage the investor startup matching, so that to be able to talk and see if there's a way that the investor might find interest in what is being done and be able to be involved in what they do. So yeah, that's the strategy we use.
You're basically the incubator for new businesses, so you also provide them skills and training in business modeling.
Yes, we do.
Great. And Paul has already stated in chat that they are also offer training, capacity building, project implementation, consultancy services, and access to finance. And Paul Mbua is from Cameroon, and he already introduced his work in one of our previous webinar or that we were hosting, and it's also the important and interesting work in Cameroon. And I have another comment from Hon Oyo John, who lead a team of women who plans to start a digital vegetable market. How can they be supported? Yes, it's a good idea is about digital vegetable market. I think this is the marketplace. Do you mean digital web marketplace, where the woman will offer their vegetables, and interested customers can then buy it? It's that. I think that this was what it's mean. This is the very short food supply chain, because there isn't any intermediates in between. And how can they be supported? Yeah, they can be supported in different ways. It's based. I think it's the best for them to really to think things through and write down their business strategy and also their business model, because it's important that you plan and do the risk management, because in majority of cases we have the idea and then we don't go through the risk assessment, and we don't know how to react when something it's not going according to plan. And another important thing is that they should have a plan. But for other things, I think it's the best for them to go to digital innovation hub in their area, and or some incubator accelerator support, so they can provide some more in-depth assessment of their business plan when they would have it already. And also the access to finance, I cannot comment that because I don't know that much about how you can assess finance or come to the project in Africa. And I have also the comment from Slim Turkey. What is your DIH business model? To what extent are your activities sponsored by public subsidies? Is this business model transferable to an African DIH? Our business model is basically that we provide networking and other services for free in exchange to working together, and we cover all our expenses in different public or European project. together with our stakeholders. So we provide funds also for stakeholders, mainly SMEs or farms or other actors in food chain, so they can do research or implement new ideas or new product in our living lab or beyond that. I think that this business model is also transferable to AfriConEU. But in the project, also in AfriConEU project, is important that we also look at the possibilities to cooperate between Africa and Europe. Gideon has said that we are not sponsored by the government, so that not to receive any public has come up with some project, and in some of those cases we have been combined government. I think that yes, I agree with Gideon that this is very Bhagavad Abazi Hamza has read at Hub. It's a really interesting initiative because it's dealing with very young entrepreneur, and it's always good to start with young age. And I would like to ask you to register and come to our next online masterclass. It's already in Monday. So we will see each other in 5 days. Again, you can see everything about it on our webpage. And I will also, we come to the important part because I need to share with you some evaluation forms about today's webinar. And hopefully, yeah, the masterclass is free, as all of our events are for free. I will just share the link for our evaluation form in the chat and give you some more minutes to go through it. And this is a survey, short survey, but it's important for our work in the project that you fill it out, please. And please, you raise your hand, please.
Yes, thank you, Sasha, and thank you for your presentation so far. So while the survey is going on, like what people are feeling, I just wanted to find out from everyone, does anyone have like an experience that they would like to share as to how they navigated just a bit of challenge in their businesses so far? So business, theater, innovation hubs, entrepreneurs, whoever, those of us on the call, does anyone have like any practical example that you would like to share as to how you were able to navigate a particular period or a particular time that you think that we can learn from, just so that someone else is saying something and it's not only Sasha? Does anyone have an experience that they would like to share? Sorry, are you trying to say something?
I think Paul has a son.
Okay. Yes, please, Paul, you can go ahead. Sasha, Paul can go ahead, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks to everyone. One of the things we realized was we were really keen on co-working space, also supporting our communities. But during the COVID period, we realized that we could not, have substantial income coming from, trainings that we usually do on ground. So last year or 2 years ago, we decided to go full-time international consultancy. So we discovered that within the past 2 years, 60% of our income is coming from our consultancy jobs, right? We consult with other organizations, we consult with companies, especially internationally. So 60% of that consultancy money, 40% is coming out of the country, right? So that is a great leverage that we decided to use in order for us to be sustainable. So we saw that we could position ourselves to implement projects for organizations that are just seeking maybe entry to Africa, organizations that want to organize, community-driven projects in both the English-speaking and the French-speaking part of Africa. So that is what we leveraged. We also realized that there was a great amount of support coming towards our female driven programs. So that pivoted us a bit because we're really focused on our community projects, we're really focused on our entrepreneurs, but also we decided to add consultancy, which is giving us 60% of our revenue, and also women-led or women-driven programs and acceleration programs, that is also bringing in another 20% of our resources. Then finally, we discover that having, virtual programs definitely increase our reach and our impact. So within the last 2 years, we ran a lot of virtual acceleration programs. We're trying to get our incubation program online, and we are starting a business school online. So we pivoted from our original idea, what we started doing since 2017, but we discovered that because of the pandemic, we failed forward in other things that we didn't. It wasn't really very short-term in our strategic plan, but we discovered that we could harness those areas for us to be more sustainable. So I would say, post-pandemic, we are more sustainable than we were in 2019, right? Because of these things we discovered about the strength of the business. And I would want to say, especially in my community, or incubation is not a profitable business, right? You cannot actually make profit because looking at the entrepreneurs, you're looking if you can charge them a fee, So mostly we're even getting a bit of leverage from certain programs that we run that will be paid by, entrepreneurs that are at the later stage of their business who could afford, certain key programs. And also we started offering now services to small and medium-sized enterprises that could pay. That gave us enough leverage for us to support these entrepreneurs who didn't have the finances to go through, certain programs or to pay for certain services. So basically that's how we pivoted our model. And now we are really, for the next 2 years, our focus is more of, consultancy, project implementation, that is giving us leverage for us to expand our reach and our impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. It's very interesting and successful, as I see. And what is important for our webinar today, that you have made some business model innovation and access and change and provide additional services to your customers. So it's a very great comment and very great story.
Thank you. So I have an addition. Let me also share my experience. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you, Paul. Please, what country are you in?
I'm in Cameroon.
Okay, please drop your email in the chat box. Let those that want to reach out to you. And I personally would also reach out to you as well to be able to have a meeting. But then I wanted to share my experience with the Akure Tech Hub. Akure is in Ondo State in Nigeria, and we have an innovation hub where it's student-centric, so because it's situated in a federal University of Technology in Akure here. And then you know how in Nigeria students are like on strike, and so we've had more influx of students using the co-working space, and it looks like we are full to capacity. So we had to like think out, what do we do? How do we ensure that we can have more persons, although we do not have enough space to be able to accommodate them? So we reached out to other tech hubs, other innovation hubs around, and then we had like a partnership conversation. So by the time when we're full to capacity, and then persons want to run trainings, or persons have one or two things that they want to do, and it's not available at our hub, what we do is to be able to connect them to other hubs to say, oh, you can use this. They also have similar, they also provide similar services. And then with that, there are two things. We're able to, number one, grow the ecosystem. So while it's not a case of competition, because we're not really making profit, right? We're able to, as much as possible, get more persons involved in tech using this model. So I'm trying to stress what partnership can do when we're navigating business models. So that's my contribution. Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you, please, for your contribution, and stress out the partnership and community building and working together. I think that this is important, and we like to talk about it, but then in reality, at least in Slovenia, this is the case. We talk about it, but then we don't collaborate that greatly. Because the neighbor grass is always greener. It's one of our proverb. Maybe you can relate, some of you, with that. I will just once again remind you of our evaluation form. I will also send you by mail based on your registration form. And if you have any question or comment, then please do so. Otherwise, I will. And if you don't have any additional comments or questions, I would like to thank you all for being here. And I see Georgiana, so I remember that I need to take a photo. And please, if you can, for the end of the webinar, turn off your camera, smile nicely in your camera so we can make a photo, or Georgiana will make the photo. I think she is a better tech specialist than me.
Yes, okay, are you ready? I think, okay, cameras are opening. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, please smile. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you very much also for joining us, and hopefully we will see you again in Monday.